Hi, welcome to SBR Sports Picks. I'm Peter Loshek. Today is Tuesday, October 4th. It's week 6 in college football, and we are talking right now with Ed Feng from the Power Rank. We're going to talk about his own personal numbers of various teams to make the playoffs in college football. Ed Feng, thanks for being back with us once again.
Hey, thanks, Peter, for having me.
All right, so
it's
absolutely. It's week 6 in college football, and you do, of course, your own numbers for all of this stuff. And if people want to take that information and use it to find value with current market odds, that's up to them. It's very useful and powerful information there. And you have your own numbers for each team's likelihood of making the college football playoffs, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's an article I do each week on Bleacher Report. It goes up Sunday night. Right now, we don't have playoff committee rankings, so we use the AP poll.
Right.
And, I simulate the rest of the season. If the team loses, they fall. If a team wins, they usually keep their place. Sometimes they jump over someone, which kind of models the kind of rare occurrence that they blow out a team.
All right. Well, I do have some current market odds for each team to win the national championship. Obviously, right now, Alabama and Ohio State are the favorites. What are their chances of not making the playoffs at all? I'm assuming that the odds for Alabama not even making the playoffs are very long.
Yeah, I mean, I have Alabama about 57% chance to make the playoff.
Okay.
They do have a more difficult schedule. Clemson has the highest odds at 63, and that doesn't mean that Clemson's a better team than Alabama. In fact, I have them rated not as highly as Alabama. But Clemson has Florida State on their schedule,
right? And
I think most of the rest of their games, their win probability is either close to 90 or above 90.
So
Alabama.
Right. So the main thing that the main factor that goes into how you come to your numbers is their path to the national championship, right? Or path to the playoffs,
absolutely.
Right?
So my simulation will go through each week the rest of the season. For example, I think Clemson plays at BC this week. I mean, that win probability has to be at least 90-some%. So we'll flip a coin, and with 90% chance, that'll come up heads, and Clemson will win, and they'll hold their spot near the top.
Right.
So Alabama's path is just a little bit more difficult. They have to play Texas A&M. I think they have Tennessee, Arkansas this week.
Right.
So they have some decent teams that they have to get through.
All right, that makes some sense. Right now, market-wide, though, the number 4 choice to win the national championship is Houston at 9-1.
Right.
That'll be interesting to see them in the Final Four if they make it. What are their chances of making it?
So Houston's a really interesting team. So you have to remember that they play a really weak strength of schedule. I have the strength of schedule as 69th, and that's including that game with Oklahoma. And you have to think about what the committee might do. So last year, an undefeated Houston team only got as high as 19th in the committee rankings. So that, I don't know if the committee is going to respect Houston as a Power 5 team. They have played Oklahoma. They have looked really good. So I don't know if we really know how the committee is going to behave until November 1st when they come out with those first rankings. I don't think they'll be as low as 19th. I also don't think they're going to be in the top 5 like they are in the AP poll.
Interesting. So Houston is right now the 4th choice. They have the 4th shortest odds to win the national championship. But in your opinion, even if they go undefeated, there's a good chance they don't make the Final Four.
I think so. I think it's all how it breaks out. I have them as a 12% chance with my methods, and so my methods kind of assume that my simulation doesn't treat them like a Power 5 team, and that's part of the reason that their probability to make the playoff is so low. But I'll be really looking, once the committee unveils their rankings and what they're saying about Houston, I might have to change some of that. Because if they are treated like a Power 5 team, their probability of making the playoff goes way up.
Right.
The only other opponent they have is Louisville. That looks like a pretty serious threat, and the team does look very good at this point.
Yeah. And then what about Washington and Michigan, 2 other teams that are sort of, have very high expectations this year?
Right.
How are their paths looking?
Yeah, I mean, Washington's is looking good. I have them about 39%, and they were pretty impressive against Stanford, although that's the worst I've seen Stanford play since the Walt Harris era. I don't think that's all Washington's strength. They do go to Oregon this week, so that'll be an interesting test. Oregon does not have a defense, which is kind of a problem when you're trying to win football games.
Right. They're also a big favorite in that game.
Washington, I think they're about 7-point favorite.
Yeah, 8 I saw.
Okay, 7-8. I mean, that's some healthy respect.
Yeah.
for this Washington team. I think it might be a little too much. I think they probably win, but I'm probably going to end up putting Washington on upset alert just because no one really thinks they're going to win.
Mm-hmm.
And I can certainly see Oregon putting up a lot of points at home. Washington doesn't play their best game.
All right, interesting stuff. Ed Feng's website, again, is thepowerrank.com. Ed Feng, before we let you go, is there anything, any other teams that are interesting to you that you want to mention?
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to mention Michigan real quick. I live here in Ann Arbor. I give them about a 20% chance. I think the team looks really good. I have them in my top 5 in my rankings that I give out to members. They've looked really good. The problem they have is that Ohio State star is rising faster than Michigan star, and that's why their probability of making the playoff is that low. Ohio State looks really good right now. Michigan has to travel to Columbus to play Ohio State the last week of the season, and that's looking like a pretty tall task, at least at this point in the season.
Right, but I mean, last year I remember people were wondering if 2 teams from the Pac-12 could make it. For example, it's possible that both Michigan and Ohio State could make it, right?
I think a lot of things have to break right. If both of those teams are undefeated going into that last game in Columbus, yeah, we could certainly see that.
Ed Feng from thepowerrank.com. Thanks so much. As always, talk again very soon, hopefully.
Absolutely. Thanks, Peter.
Research before you bet. Be sure to check out SPR Picks for the best game predictions, breakdowns, and much, much more.